2024 has been a year of prequels, sequels, and franchise films. You have Maxine, A Quiet Place Day 1, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, a new Ghostbusters film, a new Kong movie, Mad Max Furiosa, Joker Folie à Deux, Deadpool 3, Alien Romulus. Okay, you get it. And there have been even more than this. In this video, we'll talk about maybe one of the most awaited of all of these, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. Is Beetlejuice a film that needed a sequel? It's been 36 years since the original film came out, and I asked myself if they would be able to recreate the magic. Today, I'll answer all of this and ultimately determine whether this film needed a sequel and if it's a good sequel. Hello and welcome to Studio Cinema Saturday, the show where we review films old and new, the ones you don't like and the ones you do. I'm your host, Kael, and today we're talking Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. This film was directed by Tim Burton, and it follows Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice himself. Winona Ryder returns as Lydia Dietz. Jenna Ortega joins the cast as Astrid Dietz. Monica Bellucci is Dolores, and the master of his craft, Willem Dafoe, plays Wolf Jackson. And before I make any claims about the film, I want to give you some spoiler-free thoughts. If you enjoyed the original film, you're still going to be able to enjoy moments from this sequel. Beetlejuice himself is still a really funny character. He still rides the line of being comedic and being a pervy old dead guy. And, I think it totally works again. You go into Lydia Dietz, who, we just kind of enjoy to see the progression of her character, and I think her character does a lot for the family theme in the film. Her character in general just brings a lot of nostalgia from the original film. And Jenna Ortega gives a good performance in this film, but I hate to say that it does feel a whole lot like Wednesday Addams, which Tim Burton also made, and you get just this same kind of deadpan comedic feel to her. But you can look at this from the other side and say, this is probably what Lydia Dietz's daughter from the first film would have been like. So, I guess they just get the pass. As for the plot, I think it was a mess. It was all over the place. I read that they've been wanting to make this film for a really long time now. And a friend of mine said that it felt like they took all of the ideas they've had since 1988 and threw them all into an hour and 44-minute runtime. And man, that summed up exactly how I feel about this movie. I thought the villain, Dolores, and the stepfather are two characters that get big plot lines, side plot lines during the film. These are two characters that could have been removed from the film, and I think maybe the plot can be a little bit more smooth with them gone. We did an exercise in my screenwriting class in college where you had to kill a character, and if you could kill the character and the plot didn't change that much, that meant they needed to be removed or they needed a lot less dialogue. When two characters remind me of that lesson from screenwriting, I think it's usually a bad thing. Spoiler warning. I'm gonna go ahead and cut off into spoilers here, so if you haven't seen Beetlejuice, you're gonna get the movie spoiled, kid. So in order to determine if this sequel was worth making and if it's a good sequel or not, we're gonna have to dive into the plot just a little bit. One of the things I enjoyed the most about the plot was Astrid's build to seeing dead people. You start out with this girl in school who's embarrassed of her mother, who's had some fame. Her mother has a show and she's embarrassed of that, and she thinks all of it's fake anyways, so she's really embarrassed of it. And you can see that she wants nothing to do with kind of her family dynamic in general. You then dive into her father being gone, and it just gives the film some heart here. All of this, her not believing and everything, really hid the twist for me that Jeremy was in fact dead the whole time and that he was trying to lure her in to steal her body. This was maybe the best twist in the film for me, and maybe one of the biggest pieces of plot that had me going. And this is rivaled with Dolores' character being the villain, Beetlejuice's ex-wife, who's coming back kind of randomly to take him down. And, I wasn't into that plot at all, and I didn't feel like it did anything for the film. Ultimately, I felt like these were the two main villain arcs in the film, with Dolores and Jeremy, and ultimately I felt like the Jeremy plot had much better writing to it and had more heart to it, so I was just into it more. So when you are following Beetlejuice's ex-wife, I didn't really care. I wasn't into the plot. You have these interwoven with Lydia's new cringy fiance, her ignorant stepmother's death, and Willem Dafoe leading a team of dead police to come get Beetlejuice back. It was just kind of a lot of underdeveloped plots going on, and some of it feels a little half-baked. One thing it does extremely well is carry on the heart from the first film, being this horror comedy that leans into both moderately. You can connect Astrid's character to a similar spot that Lydia was in from the first time, and it's nostalgic to see Beetlejuice and Lydia put into this situation of, they're gonna get married to save Beetlejuice's life again. But does the film rely too much on nostalgia without bringing in enough new and fresh ideas? I think it rides a line. It does bring in a lot of old and it brings in some new, and I think ultimately it struggles to blend the characters that are new and the characters from the first film, and it struggles to tell kind of one cohesive plot line. I enjoyed this movie, but it didn't make me like the idea of Beetlejuice or the concept of these movies any more than I already did. And for a sequel, you kind of want people to walk away and, like just the Beetlejuice idea even more and like the character even more, but I don't think it added anything for me. And on the flip side of that, I see people saying that old Tim Burton can't direct a film anymore, and I think that's taking it way too far. He's a great director, and he'll go down as one of history's great directors, and there are plenty of things that he does in this film that I still like. One of my favorite things that he did in the first time was just the practice of modeling and scaling. And that was something I was looking forward to in this film, and it's something they still do extremely well. And you have the sandworm and all kind of the effects and practical makeup that comes with a Tim Burton film, and I still love all of that stuff. You have to understand that he directs within a style, and it's very much his. So did I enjoy watching this film? Sure. Do I think it was a good sequel? No, I don't think so. These are things that would have been said had this not been a sequel, just plotline elements and things being all over the place. With all of this being said, I do want to score the film. I've got to give it a 6 out of 10. And I want it to be known that I don't hate the movie, and I don't think it's a terrible movie. I just think it's decent at best. And I think there's a lot to say here about just the reinvention of old ideas and making sequels of old movies. I've kind of been spewing this, but George Lucas, openly said earlier this year that all Hollywood is remaking the same old thing over and over again. And I think that's what we see with Beetlejuice here. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll check us out over here at Studio 24 some more. We have other episodes of Studio Cinema Saturday, including The Lighthouse. Next week, we'll be doing The Exorcist. We did The Crow a while back. We want you to join us for Studio 24's Horror Month special. We have videos coming out all month long in October that are going to be all horror based. We have 3 horror short films coming out at the end. We have Rehab 404 coming out on October 21st, I See It in Your Eyes coming out on October 28th, and The Ties That Bind, the grand finale 40-minute special coming out on Halloween. So come spend Halloween with us here at Studio 24. We would love to have you, and I hope to see you there.